So it's funny. We were talking earlier about LeBron complaining about off-season time and all that good stuff. But as soon as some of the playoff games had ended, we got the announcement of who committed to the Olympic team. And it was like, oh, so these niggas have been complaining about time, and they going right to the Olympics, and they'll come back and start the new season. So that's what I didn't even know they were doing the Olympics this year. But then we found out, okay, the Olympics is happening. These NBA players have committed to it. They're not caring about breaks and time off. Shut up, LeBron, mind your business. But then we heard some stuff from the Olympics about some controversy from the Olympics. Sha'Carri Richardson, I hope I said her name correctly. Sha'Carri Richardson, yes. She was breaking records, running. She fast. She very fast. She Usain Bolt fast. She's so fast that all the pictures at the finish line is her like posing and stuff. It's like, how you that fast? You got people back here breaking sweats and running hard, and she just like, I did it. Like, I'm tripping you. That's just me. That's why I'm not running. But she tested positive for the weed, and she's facing a 30-day suspension because of it. So the internet went crazy. Specifically, NBA players, football players was like, why are y'all saying that? Like, y'all can't do it either. Well, they just added it. I think with NBA now, they're not going to test it.
Yeah, they don't test it for it, yeah.
Yeah, so they like, yeah, it's crazy. Don't do that. Like, y'all should stop that Olympics. But before last year, y'all had that same thing. NFL, y'all still can't do it. Odell Beckham tweeted about it. It was like, fam, we seen you in a hotel with some white lines. So you might want to sit this one out. But, however, like I said, the internet went crazy. Everybody's like, yo, it's messed up. Shouldn't do that. Lou, what's your thoughts on the whole Sha'Carri Richardson situation and her testing positive for the weed? Shout out to Stephen A. Smith.
One, it's the Olympics. This is not U.S. sports. This is not like we don't have no control of this. If Olympic rules state you cannot be on the weed, then you shouldn't be on the weed. Second of all, she knew the rules. So she said it, yeah, my mistake. I did it. I was going through a tough time. I get it. But if you're going to use that as an excuse, then don't compete for the Olympics. If you're going to smoke weed because you're dealing with a tough time in your family and your mom passing, I respect you. Deal with it how you need to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But don't compete for the Olympics when you know it's going to hurt you. It's going to come up. Like that's one test you ain't going to cheat on. Like it's going to come up. For the athletes to come at her and her defense, I appreciate the love. But again, this is Olympic sports. This is not a U.S. thing where we're imposing it and it's not our country telling her she can't run. No, there's an Olympic committee, Olympic panel, people from all over the world sit on this and they say, well, no, these are the rules. People brought up the comparison with Michael Phelps. And Michael Phelps got caught a month after the Olympics.
In a picture.
And then you can do it.
He didn't even test positive. It was a picture.
It was a picture, yeah. So he never got caught.
Right.
So you can't even bring that into the conversation as a black versus white thing because he tests positive.
Right. And he had a 6-month suspension.
Right. He lost his Nike, he lost his deal with Nike. So he paid his dues for it. But I understand we're in a moment of time where Black athletes and general need to be put on the highest pedestal possible, and she was on her way to do that. I just think it was poor judgment on her. Like, I had a conversation with a coworker, and I was like, "Shit, she should have done this in the middle of the Olympics, because then they would have fined her and suspended her after the fact.
Right?
Like, it wouldn't have come up if she waited a good month, 2 months." She won her gold medal. She can smoke all the weed she wants. They test her afterwards. Oh yeah, I tested positive after the fact.
Right?
Y'all can't take nothing from me.
Right.
So poor judgment on her part. I get it. When we all dealing with tough time, we all have our way to deal with that stress and to digress and to unwind. You got to have better judgment of what she's representing. I mean, she was on track to just destroy everybody at the Olympics. When she won the qualifier, it was on Father's Day. I was sitting in Buffalo Wild Wings with my daughter, and she said, "Wow, that girl's fast." So she, like, my daughter doesn't even watch track and field. She was glued to the TV watching her take off.
Right.
So could you imagine just the impact on the people who did support her, the girls that did look up to her?
Right.
And Now you got to say, all right, well, she did something messed up, and they're not going to let her run.
Right.
So just bad judgment. If it was U.S. Olympics or if it was a U.S. thing, let her run. Let her run. We all know weed is legal in the U.S. Like, if it was homebound, I would take it. But it's the Olympics. You can't really mess with that. That's been that way for eons. Ain't nobody changing the way Olympic deals with doping. Because once you open the door to marijuana, what about all the people that smoked weed and got kicked off the Olympic teams before?
Right.
Like, they can't get their places back. So we can't bend the rules now for someone who rightfully does deserve to be there. She absolutely does. But she knows the rules, man. You got to play by the rules.
Jared, what's your thoughts?
Can't argue it. Yeah, I mean, if it's a U.S. thing, then it's not a performance enhancer. So I get it. It's not going to make her go faster, but at the same time, it sucks as much as it sucks. The rules are the rules. That's how they feel. It's unfortunate. She'll have 3 years to get to the next one at least, to make an impact in the next Olympic Games. There are track and field competitions that go on every year. So stateside, she should still be rocking out and getting her time in. It's just a real unfortunate situation. Like, it's no different than, actually, I thought football players were allowed to smoke, but I guess they aren't. But
not yet.
But because that's right. Because I remember when they legalized it in Colorado and the other state, they were talking about, well, all players allowed to smoke it, since it's legal in those states. But it's just a real bad situation that she put herself in. I remember people. I get an email from Yahoo News, and I think people wanted Joe Biden to try to get the Olympic Committee to look past it, whatever. And he said, "Rules are the rules. Like, what you want me to do?"
Right.
Like, there's really not much you can do about it.
I don't think he can know what the Olympic Committee. I don't know if he has any jurisdiction on that.
But Japan is the Olympic Committee. So,
yeah.
There's only but so much you can do. Like, until everybody catches up onto the times and so forth, that's just what it is. Like, weed is legal in New York. The first email we got from our union was saying, "Oh, because weed is legal in New York, don't mean y'all can still smoke it either." So it's just it's everybody has their own different rules and so forth. You just gotta abide by it. That's just what it is until shit changes.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. It's unfortunate. She was on track. She was on pace to do some great things.
She's a track star.
She was well aware of the situation. She was well aware of what you could and couldn't do. It's the same thing we say whenever an NFL player is caught with a gun and they're told in the preseason, you might have a license in this state, but we're going to this state, this state, this state. Do not carry it. Everyone gets these, advanced letters and notices ahead of time, letting them know what you can and can't do. And unfortunately, she took accountability of it. She didn't apologize or anything seriously, but she did take accountability for her actions. And it seems like the rest of the internet in the world is more mad about it than she is. It could be, her just hiding her feelings because she's going through other things. But I think everybody else needs to relax. It is what it is. However you personally feel about weed is irrelevant. It's in their guidelines. I mean, it's for whatever reason, it's not a performance enhancer. Some say it may be, detractor of your performance, whatever the reason, it's in there. Now, if y'all want to talk to the committee prior to the next one, so be it. But as of right now, it's in there. She's going to face the consequences.